So you've got this film coming out, I believe, at the time we're recording this next week, and I'll definitely put all the information about this film in the show notes and give you a chance to speak to it. But the title of it, "The Wisdom of Trauma,"
Yeah.
sort of speaks to what you just said. This thing about like working through, getting insight. Can you just explain the title? So, what is the idea behind the wisdom here?
Yeah. So the wisdom is on two levels. One is the adaptation itself is a certain wisdom in it. See, trauma is not what happens to you. Like we often think of trauma as a tsunami or as genocide or as child abuse. Those are traumatic, but they're not the trauma. The word trauma comes from a Greek word for wound. So trauma is the wound which you sustain. It's not what happened to you, it's what happened inside you. There's a wisdom in it. For example, let's say you have a 2-year-old child and they throw a temper tantrum. And you follow Jordan Peterson's advice, which is that an angry child should be made to sit by themselves. So you give the message that your anger is not acceptable. Now, what will a 2-year-old do if they continually get the message that their anger is not acceptable? What will they do with their anger?
They'll stuff it down as far as it can go.
Exactly, they will depress it. Now, that's a wise adaptation. Because to express the anger is to threaten their relationship with the people that they rely on. So there's a wisdom in that adaptation. Mm-hmm. So that's the first wisdom. Or my tuning out, believe me, there was a lot of wisdom in my tuning out in my first year of life. I could not have endured life if I hadn't tuned out a lot. I'm sure. So there's a wisdom in that. There's a wisdom in all these manifestations. So that's the first wisdom of trauma. The second wisdom of trauma is the one we've touched upon, which is that when you work it through, you learn so much. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't recommend it as a way of learning. It just so happens. I'm just writing it in this book I'm writing. I'm just talking about disease as a teacher. A lot of people, even with terminal disease, have told me that they wouldn't switch their disease for non-disease because of what they've learned. And I don't recommend that way of learning. I'm just telling you what people have told me. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of wisdom in learning from our traumas. There's a lot of wisdom in multiple ways.
Hey, thanks for checking out that clip of the Mindspace podcast. You can get the full episode here on YouTube or check it out on your favorite podcast platform. Thanks, and be well.